The Gospel according to Matthew, chapter 2, and this gets into the story of Herod trying to kill Jesus because he finds out that he's being born and there's all kinds of talk about it, and he finds out from his priests and magicians that they're following the stars and they're going to meet him at his birth. But before I go into this, I want to, what really stands out, because we're in chapter 2, and in 16 it talks about, then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and in all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under. So that's I'm going to talk about infanticide that's already been described. So here, this is Herod. He's the one that helped to rebuild the second temple for the Jews. I have some more information. Actually, hold on. I've had this thing sitting around for a while. And I want to talk about his parents quickly. Okay, so Herod, his mother was an ethnic Arab, right? And his father was an Edomite, right? And though Herod was raised as a Jew, he lacked the social status of the powerful old families in Jerusalem who were eligible to serve as high priest, as the Hasmonean kings had traditionally done. Many of his subjects considered Herod an outsider, a half-Jew, So, let's just kind of give a little background on Herod. He did help rebuild the second temple. I don't know. I would like to find out his relationship with Zerubbabel, but not this second, because this is what I'm concentrating on. The infanticide that's gone on so far in the Bible. So right now, Herod, we're reading in Matthew 2. This has happened. Let's start in the beginning when this happened. So the first time this happened was in Egypt, when the Pharaoh decided to kill all the sons, newborn sons. He let the daughters live, but he said every son cast into the river, right? And that's how that's what happened to Moses, and that's how Moses was taken in by Pharaoh's daughter and raised in Egypt as an Egyptian until he found out he was Jewish, right? Okay. The second time was in the plague. That Pharaoh, when all the firstborn of Egypt died. So that was God's doing. And now I think all firstborn, meaning men, women, cattle, all kinds of animals, anything that's firstborn just like died on the spot at like midnight or something. Like right there, everybody died, including Pharaoh's son. Right? It wasn't just his son, it was every firstborn in that kingdom. Then the third time was, and I don't know about this one as much, but it just popped out, and it was when Saul, through Samuel, said to kill all Amalek, and all the animals, everything, kill everything. And that is also a thing, kind of like kill all the Canaanites. So that kind of needs to be added. The Canaanites, everything needs to be killed. And because that wasn't done in the beginning, you see the very last book in Malachi. What is the last sentence? He's still talking about these Canaanites, right? Malachi. Did I call it Malachi? Okay. I don't see the part about the Canaanites. I'm looking, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to go ahead and read it. But we know that. I'll find it. But this is the 5th time that there's just mass genocide, in particular, infanticide, ordered by people and by God. So 2 different parties. So the first one was Pharaoh did it. Then God did the plague. I don't know if it was that same Pharaoh. Oh yeah, it was the same Pharaoh. Because he ordered that done and then he did it to him. I think it was the same Pharaoh. And then, well, the first thing that ever happened was to kill all the Canaanites, and that wasn't done. Which led to this continuing issue, I think. And then the Saul, through Samuel, told to kill all Amalek. I need to study about Amalek more. But then this is the 5th time. This mass things going on. I just need to point that out. Okay, now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born, King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when because he's a half Jew, he's not leading the people, right? Look, and Jerusalem's all troubled with him. Because he's kind of doing things like rebuilding this temple and stuff. I don't know if at this point, but he was not obeying God, right? Oh, wait. Yeah, this is Herod. It sounds like he's Egyptian, right? But this guy is King of the Jews. Okay? He became that. Okay? Because after, like that, what I described, he cooperated with the Romans, right? And the Romans put him in Judea. He's not Egyptian, right? We just heard what he is, right? Okay. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. But he wasn't a good king. He's like all the rest of them. All those 10 bad kings, right? He's doing no good, and we'll find out. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. And they said unto him, In Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet. I don't know a prophet. We should probably find out who that was. And now, Bethlehem in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Then Herod, when he had privily called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem, and said, Go and search diligently for the young child, and when ye have found him, bring me word again, that I may come and worship him also. So he didn't order right away to kill him. He's like, God, come back to me and let me know so you can figure out something really horrible to do, right? And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, Go. Okay. When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeareth to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night, and departed into Egypt. And was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt have I called my son. Oh. I didn't really think about that. But that's the way it went down. They did have to go to Egypt. And I don't know what prophet that is, but that should be easy to figure out, because that will be confirmed somewhere else in this scripture. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, he was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and in all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under. So here we go. Herod, he's not just like killing the males. He's doing this out of spite. It's already done. He's already born. And he is so mad that these wise men took off on him and don't want to have anything to do with him, because they know he's piece of, you know what? And he is so spiteful at these wise men for not informing him and not giving him any information, that he didn't just kill all, like everybody else we just explained. Even in Egypt, they let the daughters live, right? They just killed the newborn sons. And then, of course, what did God do in the plague? He killed all their firstborn. But this guy is taking it a step further. He's really taking it a step further. Again, Egypt did not kill the daughters when Moses, right? The order was just to kill all the newborn sons. And even when Pharaoh, it was just firstborn. It wasn't everybody in your family. Because there's going to be secondborn and thirdborn, unless you just had one. Or unless you were the firstborn of your family. So there's leeway. But this guy kills everybody. Herod, he just kills everybody under 2. He's not even like just the boys. No, out of spite, he's killing everybody, boys and girls. He doesn't have nothing to do with the animals, right? Like have been in previous cases like this. But he's like, well, you know what? Since everybody wants to lie to me, I'm Herod, and I'm not just killing the boys. Kill everybody under 2 in Jerusalem. So that he's just taking it a step above everybody else, right? You see what he did? Nobody else took this step. So from 2 years old and under, okay, all the children that were in Bethlehem and in all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. So you know what? You know what a jerk he is? He knows that this baby is just like a month old also, right? So he's actually adding like 23 months, like to make it 22, everybody 2 years, anybody even in this realm. I don't even want him to have any compadres in this time. Get rid of everybody. This guy is something else. You see, it just gets worse and worse. And this is a lot worse. I think so. I don't know. I'm just comparing it. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremy the prophet, saying, okay, here we go. It's Jeremiah probably then, with these two previous references. In Ramah there was a voice heard, lamentation and weeping, and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, and would not be comforted because they are not. So, was Rachel a victim of this? No, because Rachel was Jacob's wife. So I don't know who they're talking about and what this means, but that's something to study because I have no idea what that means. Because it can't be talking about Jacob's favorite, right? And plus, she was barren until she was able. Remember her, what do you call it? Her handmaiden. She kept having the babies, but then all of a sudden Rachel was able to. Didn't she have Benjamin? Who is her? Isaac. Yeah, Jacob. Okay, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I'm trying to think who. Because he loved her the most. So it's important to know who their children are. Okay, I don't know off my head. But when Herod was dead, I don't know what that passage means. It's 18, Matthew 2:18. But when Herod was dead, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, arise and take the young child and his mother and go into the land of Israel. Okay, so Herod died. Joseph had another dream. Right? The first one was to get out of Jerusalem to Egypt. And now that Herod's dead, get out of Egypt and go to Israel. Okay. But when he heard that Archelaus did reign in Judea in the room of his father Herod, he was afraid to go thither. Notwithstanding being warned of God in a dream, he turned aside into the parts of Galilee. And he came and dwelt in a city called Nazareth, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophets. He shall be called a Nazarene. Oh, you should find that one too. So this is full of a lot of stuff. This second chapter of Matthew. Wow. Lots of questions. But I have a strong background now about some things. And I didn't just remember that. I had to write that down about these previous events. But it's to show that Herod's actual behavior is the worst. And it's combining like everybody's all at once. Because at least they parcel them out. They're like, okay, we're not going to kill the daughters. Right? That was the first Pharaoh, right? Who made that decree when Moses was born. He was put into a river. Every son cast into the river. He'd saved the females. And then even in the plague, it's like firstborn. It's like, so I'm seeing like people that are like 30 that just dropping dead. You know, animals that are like 7 just dropping dead because they were the firstborn, right? And then, of course, who knows how old Pharaoh's son was at that time. He was first, but they didn't touch anybody else. It was just firstborn, not in the past 2 years. Like, they could be 40 or 50 years old, but I don't think they live that long. But, and then the two different orders just to kill everybody were about Canaan and Amalek. Those are a little separate. That's just murder, and those are God's orders. So those don't really fit in this box. But Herod, he had no reason to kill any female children, but he does not care. He did this completely out of spite. You see how bad he is. That's what I'm trying to say. He's taking it up a notch. And like this whole thing is all going to be taken up a notch, right? Because we're considering the Old Testament into all of this. So how can I not bring this up? Because this is not something that just happened. And yeah, when we grow up, we hear this story. Oh, he tried to kill. He went and, the wise men. And you don't really hear it, right? You don't hear that he went to Egypt and they had to wait till Herod died. Because Herod was in Jerusalem and Judea at the time, right? So he couldn't go there. So, but doesn't it sound like Herod should be in Egypt, right? Doesn't it sound like just from things you've watched and like just your MK Ultra that we've all been given? Like, oh, yeah, Herod was in Egypt. He's giving orders from Egypt. I don't think he was. I think he was in Judea this whole time. And he was rebuilding the temple. And imagine, right? What a hypocrite, right? So he's sitting there. He's like half Jew. Nobody considers him full Jew. And, he just made it like he's not even any... He has nothing to do with anything good because he's sitting there rebuilding this temple. Is it at the same time? Well, maybe we'll find out, because if he's rebuilding this temple and he's acting like he is helping the Jews, he should be absolutely so happy that Jesus is being born, right? But he's not. So this is the seed. This is the seed that this whole Old Testament, we went through this whole Old Testament. What was it about? It's about the serpent seed fighting with God's seed, right? Look, it happened right away in the garden with Adam and Eve. The serpent seed came in, tried to destroy that whole thing. God had to do some more, stuff on them. But it's an ongoing thing, right? Look at that story of Esther. What happens, right? That guy Haman, he tried to... the whole thing is they're trying to kill this seed that would bring forth Jesus Christ. Over and over and over and over. That's all we read. This is what the war is. All these wars. Most of them. A lot of them. Not all of them. Many of them. But here he is, suckers. And you know what? Herod is mad and he is just so offended. He's sitting there building the temple. These people won't even report back to him because they know he's a fraud. You're an effing fraud, Herod. Nobody's going to report back to you. We know why you want to know. You just want to come kill him, you D-I-C-K. And you know what? That's proven. Because what does he do when they don't come back to report him? He doesn't just do like one thing directed at... He just like kill everybody. I don't even care if they're girls. Kill all of them under 2 years old. He takes the cake, I think, in comparison to the previous genocides and including infanticides. Doesn't he take the cake? Let me know. Maybe just leave me a comment in 532 pages. Well, it's okay. Because whatever the Lord has me doing this for, like, if it's just for the algorithm, if it's for because the whatever seems to be happening in this country and wherever, and maybe who knows when God feels like coming back and Jesus feels like coming back. So yeah, they say right before that happens, there's going to be, you can't find the word anywhere. Well, I don't know, maybe the Bible's in your house, will something horrible will happen. Maybe, who knows what this can be. But I'm just trying. A good exercise. But this guy Herod, he's something else. And I don't know, they show like, they try to say they have his grave and they dug up his mummy and he looks just like the property manager that was here, that is no longer here. This guy is, I have very strong feelings toward Herod. I don't know if it's really him. How can you tell, oh yeah, this is him? We dug him up. You can't believe anything any of these people say. Look what the Smithsonian has done with all the giant's bones. Look at all these star forests. Like, you can't believe anything except this. And I really don't like that Herod. And I wonder how much of his spirit is left around these days. He's just something else. I find him so bad. I don't know why. Like, I had a bad time reading about that. What was those two guys, these lawyers? Back, was it in Samuel? Sanballat. And I had a really bad time with it. I thought they were just horrible, right? And like one of them, and that guy Tobias, right? I hate that name too. Sorry, I don't like that name. I've never liked that name. And he's just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sleep in the temple, bro. I don't know if he did that. It says he took over. He like moved into the temple, like that guy. I don't know. Are people like this supposed to be making you like? I guess people feel other certain things about the Bible who makes them feel certain ways. But those lawyers in that story, they infuriate me. I don't even want to look it up right now. This is too long, this video. But you know what? This Herod, he takes the cake, man. He takes the cake. I just have to stop and like do a whole thing about this guy. Because he is just like almost worse than, I mean, you can't say he's worse than anyone because there's like so many bad things that happen. And like the spirit of the devil is so strong. But he's just expresses himself just mediocre like that. You're just the worst. You're just the scum of the earth, right? But this guy, right? He takes the cake. He's really, really bad. He has all the attributes of Satan. Look at this story. He's like, oh, I'm building. It doesn't tell you that he's building this temple. I don't know if it's going to, but I have this thing from National Geographic. It's this old magazine, and I keep reading it. It's about Herod rebuilding the second temple. So this fraud, right? This fraud Herod, this absolute fraud, right? Who became governor of Judea, governor of Jerusalem through his friends, the Romans, the I Claudiuses, the Tiberius, those. They're like, oh yeah, okay, because his family had already been cooperating with him. You understand? Just like now, nothing has changed. So they're like, you know what? Go ahead, be king of Judea, right? Be governor of Judea. He's not king. He's not king of the Jews, right? He's only half Jewish, right? So they're like, be governor, and so he's sitting there like a fraud, going, oh, I'm going to rebuild your temple. But what a fraud. This is why I'm so mad. What a total fraud. He's sitting there acting like he's helping, like he's rebuilding the temple, like he's helping anybody. And not, he's not even a Jew. He shouldn't even be there. He's only half Jew. He's only there like a puppet, right? He's a Roman puppet. He should not be there. And look what he does. Look what he does. Does it remind you of anybody? Just destroys. If politicians could do that right now, they would. If they had the ability to do this type of behavior, they would, without a doubt. Guaranteed.